Welcome to the Who Knows What podcast, where we don't even know what's up. But today, we do know what's up, and we're going to start with Yachty.
Police brutality in Dear Martin is a very frequent conflict in the book and in real life. At the end of the first chapter, the book says that Jess was yanked backwards, his head smacks the door frame. He tried to comply with the officer saying that this was a big misunderstanding. He starts to say it, but doesn't get to finish because the officer hits him in the face. And this was on page 7. This was obviously a form of police brutality because one, he didn't let him get his rights in, try to talk with the officer and get his standing point of view instead of stereotyping from the jump like the officer did.
You know, there's a lot of police brutality in this world. To be honest, there's a lot of incidents. I have I've heard an incident actually. I seen it in a document in a news broadcast. It's talking about an Acorn incident. So it was a black man got arrested. When he got arrested, they put him in cuffs, of course. But an Acorn fell in the car, and then a cop thought the black man had a gun. That shows the cop being racist and showing that he thinks mostly some black people have weapons on them, even though he had a handcuff. So they shot inside the car. The black man was injured, and the only thing that happened to the police was he just got fired, and that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah, that's terrible, honestly. I wouldn't know what to feel, especially if I was a victim in that situation. But all I know is that 2024 police killings in the U.S. reached a high of 1,365 individuals, passing previous numbers drastically. So that number, how do you feel about it? That 1,365 killings to people they stopped and pulled over.
Well, that's like crazy because police are supposed to make you like safe,
Yeah, they're supposed to have
they're not supposed to make you scared. Every time you see a police now, you're afraid because you don't know what they're capable of.
Dude.
They could come into your car and just pull you out for no reason, not telling you why you were pulled over or anything like that. Such as minorities, they get treated like that because officers say they're scared, but in reality they're just, I don't know, they just want to do that because they want to do it,
Like that power trip sometimes. Sometimes people describe it as, it just depends on who has the gun and who was trained to use it. Because police brutality is a famous conflict in Dear Martin. Anything else to add?
Yeah, even in 2016, a 32-year-old black man named Philando Castile was pulled over for looking like an armed robbery suspect, and Stanford.edu says that the police called him a wide-nosed suspect, saying racial profiling him. When he told the officer he owned a legal firearm, the officer told him not to pull it out. Castile told him he would not and got shot 5 times when reaching for his ID.
And that's literally what they did. The police shot Castile.
Yeah, very unfair.
It is. This is what I'm saying. Police people think without assuming. If you reach out for something in your pockets, the police will mostly think it's a weapon. Wouldn't you agree, Yachty?
Yeah.
Right, Kevin?
Yeah, I agree. You could just be pulling out something like your ID, I don't know, your registration. They could think it's a gun, firearm, and that case, he literally said he had a firearm, and warned them about he had a firearm. So why would he pull out his firearm? You feel me?
Yeah, that's true. The police officer told him not to reach for it, and he assured the police officer that he wasn't gonna grab it. But when he was reaching for his ID, he ended up getting killed.
But to then again, back up to the police, because they're the police. They also have their fair share of criminals who do terrible things, lies and deceit, just to get their way through. So dealing with those type of criminals is a problem as well, and having to know the difference between, let's say, a hairbrush and then a handgun is very, very hard to make.
Yeah, especially with minorities this time of day, because of them, there's you know how minorities always on their phones or trying to get their makeup done, like girls in makeup or guys just texting their friends, changing their music, anything, and they get pulled over, and they might have just a brush in their hand, and they're gonna put it in the back of the car. The police officer might think they're reaching for something, which is assuming, and it's also giving fear to any minority, to any officer.
Okay.
Okay, the George Floyd incident. So that's a huge incident that took police brutality, because he was held down, and he said I can't breathe. He said that repeatedly, and they still didn't do anything about it, even though he was uncomfortable and said that.
And everybody was recording too, so it was a little weird.
Exactly, and that incident inspired the Black Lives Matter movement.
See, that what you're saying about that incident, it reminds me of the book, of the beginning of the book actually. When the police officer was taking Josh and arresting him just because he was with his, I think it was his ex, or was it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Melody.
yeah.
So that's assumption. Just because she was drunk and he really wasn't.
Yeah, just was trying to get her to safety, and then stereotyping. I think stereotyping may be a key point as to why police brutality cases are as big as they are today. I think they could be stopped with the next generation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the book, character said, when I see a minority, I'm gonna wonder if they're qualified to be there. As a minority, how do you feel about this? How would you feel if someone if you overheard someone say this, or he said it directly towards you?
Like making assumptions about me.
Yeah. What if he said that to you?
He wouldn't. I feel like he has a point, but also he wouldn't know how we would feel, how we might see them, or how we might see the world at this point, because everything that's going on in this world.
Right. But as a minority, I kind of feel as if that's the meaning. Feeling as if they're trying to put us down. Obviously, we're not built for us to already build a house and then take care of us ourselves. We need a couple of our parents, and we need parents to help us grow and then teach us how to not do that. But I also think that we have some sense of the world that we can protect ourselves from the dangers of the world and avoid them.
What would you think? Huh? If you were one.
I agree with that, and I feel like I would just feel unsafe and unprotected, like the people that are supposed to protect me are against me, and that would make me feel
Like less safe.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
yeah.
So mostly to sum everything that we're saying, I'm saying that the way we can figure and solve all this out is by showing future generations of officers or any other people being stopped from the next generation. Basically, they should see how everything was happening in the past. Try not to make this whole thing a loop. Basically, what I'm saying.
I agree. If we could stop that loop, we could maybe stop all these big cases from happening and keeping the numbers so high.